Hey guys, um, this is a stitch and bitch. If you don't know what a stitch and bitch is, it's basically sitting around crocheting or knitting and bullshitting, which is fun. I enjoy doing it. I'm probably going to go for about half an hour today. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I've been wanting to, but I haven't been home. Unfortunately, I've had to work late basically every night for the last week and a half or so. So this is the first time I've been home like at a normal person hour, and I am enjoying it. I made myself some real dinner. I'm sitting down on the couch, chit-chatting. I don't know, a lot's been going on lately. Most notably, of course, has been Booktube SFF. That's like a really big to-do, and I'm quite pleased. Everyone who's been doing Booktube SFF this year and the Booktube SFF Awards has been really super cool. I've been really digging the discussions on Goodreads and watching people's Booktube SFF babbles. Shout out to Paul, who started that this year. That's a fantastic idea. And just all the good stuff that's going around with that. I'm mostly up to date on my like to be read from the nominees, so that is good. See, what did I finished Illuminae. I finished Six of Crows, and I think other than that, now I'm actually up to date. All I have to read is the Mary Robinette Kowal short story. And I think I might read the Sanderson. I've got time to read the Sanderson, so I guess I might as well. I don't know. I've had a lot of thoughts the last couple of days, mostly because so many fantastic people have been, I don't know, just having great conversations, stuff about what inspires them and what they want to see for their lives and stuff like that. And that stuff's always really cool. A couple of weeks ago, Joe over at Final Joe Blow, I'll link his stuff down a little later when this goes in the archive. But he did this great video called Booktube Reflections. Basically, he came up on his anniversary and he was talking about all of the things that he's kind of learned personally from doing book videos, and I thought that was super cool. I've been wanting to do one of those, and I have a little bit in mind of what I want to say, but I'm kind of just waiting. Because the more I'm here, the more, I don't know, the more I think about it. Like I was hanging out on Twitter today, like you do, and that FemTube chat, it's hashtag FEMTUBE chat, was just talking about stuff like, you know, what do you want to do on YouTube? How are you going to achieve your goals? Who are the people you look up to, and what do you look up to about them? How do you kind of keep yourself creative? And I really like stuff like that. I think it's really interesting. And I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, you know, people said this to me all the time in other contexts, but it took me talking to a lot of publicists and asking for things to realize that it's true. Like, people want to give you what you want. And you have to ask. And it's so baffling to me sometimes that that's true. It's so crazy. Like, you really, if you get up the courage to ask somebody for something, chances are you're going to get what you want. And I'm still not quite over that revelation, I guess. I still think it's fantastic. I don't know. Other than that, let's see. So I finished Illuminae. I finished Six of Crows. Right now I'm listening to Wuthering Heights on audiobook and reading Weird Sisters, which is the first book where Granny Weatherwax is like a real character in the Discworld books. So she's in Equal Rights, which is the third book. as kind of a side character. She shows up for a couple of scenes, and she is the main character of Weird Sisters. And this is fantastic. I love Granny Weatherwax. She is my favorite Discworld character by far. Maybe Tiffany Aching, but I like them both in very, very different ways. And so looking at the difference between how Pratchett writes her in Equal Rights as opposed to how he writes her in Weird Sisters and how he writes her in the Tiffany Aching books has been really, really cool. I've been really liking it. And someone brought to my attention today that there was an alternate ending for The Shepherd's Crown. I can't tell you what it is because it's spoilery. I will link the Guardian article below when this is archived, but that's also spoilery, of course. But I couldn't believe it. The ending that Pratchett had originally had that he wanted to do was so perfect. It would have been total just a sob fest, but the right ending. I like The Shepherd's Crown. I've talked about it a couple of times. But when I found out how he had wanted to end it, I was like, what? I'm working on a granny square blanket. Well, like one big granny square. Right now, I can't give up on it anymore because it's too big to be a scarf. It's like a lavender, purple lilac Karen yarn. I don't know what else has been going on. So I finished Illuminae. I should probably talk about that. I haven't decided if I want to do a full review of it, mostly because I really didn't like it. And I know that's not a popular opinion, but I was reading it and the whole time I was like, nobody does this. The way that these characters are talking are not the way that anybody talks. It uses like some really outdated like internet slang that took me a little bit by surprise. The second half I thought was a lot better than the first half. The second half I enjoyed, which is Aiden, the AI, kind of becomes a much bigger part of the story at that point, and I enjoyed that aspect. But for the most part, I was sitting there kind of like not quite grinding my teeth. It's a kind of almost epistolary story, so it's written in files and like people's debrief reports. People who are supposed to be professionals, and they're like cursing and making inappropriate sexual assault jokes and all sorts of things that I just kept being like, grown-ups don't say this in their reports. They don't do that. And it took a long time for me to kind of get through those parts of the novel. Let's see. I read Six of Crows. Really rather liked it. Hi, Rachel. Rachel just said hi to me in the chat. I don't think that I think it's anything fantastic. I don't know. I was reading it and it's enjoyable. I think I like it more than I liked The Lies of Locke Lamora. But I have a mixed relationship with The Lies of Locke Lamora. Oh. Rachel is saying that I'm talking about Illuminae. There's a little bit of a delay in the chat. And yes, Illuminae. But as for Six of Crows, I liked it more than Locke Lamora. I wish I had liked it a little bit more. I think that there are some tweaks that could have been done that would have really made it a book I really enjoyed. And I don't know if it's just me being nitpicky or what, that I didn't like it a little bit more. Those are both in the YA category, and the third book in the YA category is Carry On. I listened to Carry On quite a while ago on audiobook, and I love whoever does the casting for Rainbow Rowell's audiobooks is fantastic. Whoever her casting manager for that, like, that person deserves a raise. Everything I've ever listened to for Rainbow Rowell when I've listened to it on audiobook, the narrator's been great. And it was really funny to listen to. Admittedly, I was the kind of teenager, and don't judge me for this, who wrote and read a lot of fan fiction. Yeah, I know. Not that anyone's really surprised by that, let's be honest. And so I think a lot of Carry On is tailored to kind of poking fun at that crowd, in a knowledgeable way, right? Like it's like your best friend making fun of you. Like it doesn't feel like they're trying to hurt your feelings or anything, but you get a little red-faced. And so I liked that about it. I think that was perhaps one of my favorites in the YA category. It might be my favorite actually in the YA category. See, as far as the actual regular novels category, I think I've read almost everything in there. I'm going to pull up, let's see if I can pull up my Goodreads to see the full nomination list. Read the 5th season, loved it. So good. So good. One of the few books last year that I think I gave 5 stars. N.K. Jemisin blew me away in that. I like it much better than her Inheritance trilogy as well. Like she just did a fantastic job. Let's see, I need to go to groups. That's what I wanted. I have not read the Sanderson one. I should, but I think it's it's the 3rd in the Wax and Wayne series, or the 2nd maybe. And I basically just have not really invested the time in that yet. I listened to the first Wax and Wayne book on audio. I listened to a lot of things on audio. Liked it well enough. It has such a different tone to me than Mistborn that it was kind of weird going from one to the other. I'm not quite sure. It's not that I didn't like it. It was just like a little jarring almost to me. I think I was expecting something more in keeping. Let's see. Best novel right now on the Goodreads page just has Naomi Novik up. Here we go. Pull up the Tumblr. That'll do it. Let's see. Yeah, Uprooted. I was not a big Uprooted fan. I'm not a big fan of the like fall in love with your teacher thing. That was kind of a little bit going on in there. It makes me just a little like itchy. It just never really quite sits well. Oh, A Darker Shade of Magic. I listened to A Darker Shade of Magic. I had to drive up to see my folks, and they live about 4 hours away, 5 hours away. So I had plenty of time to listen to it. Interesting. Not sure how I feel about the ending. I'm going to be really, really interested to hear what people have to say as far as those books go, because I think we're going to see a really wide array of reactions, especially one in the YA category. I think we'll see a wide range of people who either really, really loved the books or really, really did not. But some of the picks in the novel category I think are going to be really interesting. I've already read Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, and I love everything Nnedi Okorafor does. Just everything. I have a little bit of a lady crush on her and her Twitter. It's not weird, I'm sure, right? Right. And then I have also a little bit of a lady crush on Mary Robinette Kowal. The thing that really tipped me over the edge on my Mary Robinette Kowal love is when I found out that she was a puppeteer and worked for the Jim Henson Company. Did you know that? She worked for the Jim Henson Company. Can you tell that I love? I have perhaps an inappropriately aged love of the Jim Henson stuff and Muppets. I love Muppets. I know it's a little weird. My mom hates them. But I just can't get over that. I wish that she would do a memoir all about working as a puppeteer. One time she was Elmo when the Elmo guy was sick. And so they needed like a spare set of hands. It's just cool. It's cool stuff. I read her Forest of Memory, and I'm going through her Glamorous Histories. I finished the first one this week. It surprises me how well she caught the tone of Jane Austen. It's like a Regency era kind of story, but of course with magic. And the main character is this not quite country girl. Her family's well enough off, but like they don't have any brothers, and so the girls might be destitute when their father passes. Kind of a similar setup to Pride and Prejudice. And I was surprised that Kowal really caught the tone in a way that felt like it was the right kind of homage to Jane Austen while still feeling like it was coming from a modern writer. And I really like that. Yes, Rachel. She was Elmo once. She was Elmo. And back to the Glamorous Histories. I was surprised. The story did not end the way that I had wanted it to. My character crush did not succeed in his romantic endeavors. There is, of course, a love triangle. Of course, there's a love triangle. But overall, I'm interested. I picked up, the next one is Glamour on Glass. And so I picked that one up the other day. I took my not nephew. I took him to the science fiction and fantasy bookstore and then to a magic tournament this weekend because I'm the coolest not aunt ever. He's 8. And so we just got his reading test scores back and he's at like 7th grade reading level. So I told him I would take him and help him pick out some middle grade books. He was super excited. And then we went home and we watched Totoro because why not? I did pick up from the library the second Fairyland book. I've been reading quite a bit of Kat Valente, and I really like her stuff. And so I've read the first Fairyland book, liked it well enough, and decided to finally pick up the second one since I was hanging out at the library and they had it to hand. I always feel really weird about going into the teen section because they have it as like a hangout group area. And I'm like, I'm the weird 23-year-old lady walking in there. I've never had anyone say anything weird to me about it, but I always feel like I can see people's eyes being like, why are you in here? You could have just put that on hold and they would have put it in the grown-up section for you to pick up there. But I sometimes teach classes for my library, and my supervisor, I guess, for when I work at that particular library is actually stationed in the teen room. So it's been significantly less weird since that happened, but I don't know. I always, like, I don't want to creep out the 14-year-olds who are just learning to love the library. I don't know. I also picked up some stuff by Tannereve Dew when I went to the store. I don't know. I have this dream that one day I go to the bookstore and what happens is somebody's like, you look like you probably have fantastic taste in books. I have thousands of dollars. Pick out books for me. And I would just be like, here's the best shopping cart of books ever. Go home, we'll never talk to one another again, but I will have made your life better. Um, there are a couple times where like I'll see a straggler in the sci-fi and fantasy section and I want to be like, here, take this one. But I can't decide if that would just creep people out. Part of me is like, but the people who won't be creeped out will want to be your best friend. That or I'll get kicked out of the bookstore. And people say I'm not cool. This is starting to get a little heavy. It's been really nice outside. I think it's something like 40 degrees, 45. I have the windows open, and I wore a dress outside today with not quite fully opaque tights, so it was cool. Back to the FemTube chat thing, because there was something I wanted to say about that. I thought it was really interesting to listen to, or to read all of the people's tweets about how they deal with being online. And I thought it was really interesting. It made me think a lot about the different kinds of pressures people put on one another. And I definitely catch myself being like, you have to upload 2 or 3 times this week, and you haven't done anything yet, Bree. What are you going to do? And the other day, Cynthia over at CA Boddington, who I love, if you have not checked her out, she's amazing. She's just very well spoken and educated and has a lot to say and a lot of interesting stuff to say and a fantastic passion for books. She posted this video that was a lot about, like, specifically about self-hatred and how there are a lot of times where she just doesn't like herself. And I think it's this is like that very morning before I watched that, I had a dream where she was giving me like a pep talk. In my dream, she was saying that, she's like, Bree, you don't have to be anything you don't want to be. And I was like, no, let me tell you a dream you said to me. Dream, you should have said this to you. But I thought it was interesting because I think people have such an idea about who they're supposed to be. And I always wonder how much of that is based on what we really want. I don't know. I worry. There's so much, it seems like, anxiety and insecurity in YouTube as a place as opposed to a lot of other places. And I mean, I can certainly relate to that. I've had a lot of anxiety problems myself. But I always think it's interesting because some of the people who I think are so amazing, you know, I think so many people on here are so amazing. And I don't know. I guess I don't really know what I want to say other than that I love everyone. Sappy Brie moment. I haven't even had my wine tonight. See, I got shouted out this week. A lot of people who are new to my channel, I had a huge influx of subscribers. You are probably here because I was shouted out, and some fantastic people were like, hey, meet Bree. You know, like Barney. Have you met Ted? And I think that's really cool. That's one of the things I like. And I think over time, building that community and being like, no, you don't understand. So-and-so's fantastic. Here, meet them. I think has really helped to increase my own opinion of myself. I'm really grateful to Booktube for that. And it's added a social aspect to my life that I really feel better off for having. I am very quiet, believe it or not. And I spend a lot of my time just kind of sitting at home and relaxing. And nobody in my life, I feel like everybody says this, but nobody in my life wants to talk about books with me until Booktube happened. And now I literally have fantastic people around me all day, every day. It's the coolest thing. If you're thinking about starting a Booktube channel, you should do it. If you have a Booktube channel, you should link me to it and tweet your channel to me so that I can see it. I don't know. I see it a lot. I don't know. But I think that's one of the really cool things is I think Booktube is just good for the soul. If you were doing the Booktube SFF stuff, there is actually a giveaway right now going on, I think, on Goodreads for Binti. I mean, Binti it's a Tor.com novella. It's like $3, but regardless, it's fun to win stuff. I think Thomas tweeted out about that today. I'm kind of hoping that some of the judges will get some author interviews or something. I think that would be really cool. At the very least, that would be something that they should, I hope they're trying to do. That's one of the things I've really enjoyed doing this past year. I'm actually working on setting up another live show interview soon. And I'm hoping it's going to go pretty well. I think it will. If you were interested at all in not just like interviews, but in the idea of panel topics, I think that that would be something really cool to do. I'd really like to do like live shows based around topic discussions. I really miss the old style response videos. So people would do it all the time. There used to be a feature where you could link your video to somebody else's, and so you'd have a response to their video, and there'd be like a chain of response videos. That is no longer really a feature. That's why you see the RE colon and then the same video name. But I think it would be really cool to do like a panel discussion. The one that's been on my mind a lot is disability in science fiction. Strange Needs in Strange Worlds is a SF Signal feature that's run by this wonderful lady named Sarah. And that's, I've been thinking a lot about her feature and the kind of things that her articles talk about, and I wish that we'd have more conversations like that. Hi, Jane. I hope you're doing well. I mean, we occasionally do a flurry of everybody talking about the same kind of topics, and that's sometimes really cool. I wish we did more of it, because I like that. I think that's one of the really cool things that we do as part of a community, you know, talking to one another and really bouncing ideas off one another. I like that more than all of the tag videos and stuff. Not that I don't like tag videos. I do. They have their place, but I like the discussion a little more. This is going to be a big blanket for my bed, Jane. I'm working on, it's like one big granny square. Let's see if I can get you guys up close. You can see the color's not really showing up on here. It's like a deep navy blue with an emerald green and a lilac-y lavender. So I've never actually completed a blanket. I start them all the time. I had one that I sat on for years and years and years. And I'd occasionally do like 5 stitches here, 5 stitches there. But I'm hoping that in doing these Stitch and Bitch videos, I will complete a blanket this year. I think I can do it. I watched Hannibal. I'm almost done with season 3. Sorry, that's a little random. but it's the first TV show that I've sat down and actually watched in a very long time. And I would like to figure out more TV that I would like to watch. I have The Expanse and I have The Magicians to try out. But I don't know. I'm a little nervous knowing some of the story behind them because I don't want to nitpick, but I really miss like a classic dark Battlestar Galactica kind of sci-fi show. I was raised on sci-fi. We watched Star Trek and Star Wars. I think I was 4 the first time I sat down and watched like a flurry of X-Files with my parents. My dad owned a comic book store, so stuff like that was pretty normal for us. And I miss the darkness, I guess, a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like something like The Walking Dead. I don't know if I would like that, but maybe I'll try it out. I don't know. If you have suggestions, you should let me know. I'm gonna sign off here in just a second, but thank you for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'm gonna check back in a couple days with some videos, but I will talk to you later. Bye.